Welcome to another episode of Casual Cinephilia, where enthusiastic amateurs talk very passionately about movies. I'm Ian.
I'm Lorian, and today we are talking about Soul, Disney Pixar's newest film.
Yeah, which was supposed to come out, was it slated for this year?
Yeah, it was summer.
Summer this year, got it. But was pushed back due to, global pandemic and the such. And was released on Christmas Day on Disney Plus.
Yes. Very nice. Just general release to subscribers, not the pay extra that they did with Mulan earlier. Which I think was a great choice.
Which it actually paid off for them. I was looking at the statistics because there's two movies that released for streaming on Christmas Day, and it was Wonder Woman 1984 and Soul. And judging based off of new downloads of their streaming apps, Disney Plus got downloaded something like 155 million times on Christmas Day. And I mean, not to say HBO Max didn't win, because they had something like 75 or 80 million downloads just on Christmas Day, but Disney definitely won out with Soul. Sure. I mean, it's Pixar.
Right.
Like, people will want to see Pixar.
Yeah.
It actually was very strange to me that they kind of blew their shot with the premium service with Mulan, which I don't know if they just didn't know it was going to be reviewed badly, or
sure
they had more faith in it than it had. But like, I could see people forking over money hand over fist to see the next Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Not a Disney live action that have, whether they're okay or good or not, like, they just have a bad reputation of being kind of, lack of a pun, soulless,
Yeah, the live action remakes, some of them have been great, but they're all just money grabs. We all know that.
And so putting that
sometimes
premium,
it works out, but
yeah, for sure. But putting that premium ticket on what people already view as a money grab,
right,
I think killed it before it was even born. Yeah. And I'm glad this just came out to general release on Disney Plus. I am happy that it did. But the inner business person on me was like, you missed it. Like, you missed your opportunity, Disney. And that seems strange to me for Disney, because they often don't miss their opportunity to make money, But
yeah, I wonder if Mulan would have been better reviewed if they hadn't done that.
I think it just, one, it was released with the premium service, so that automatically gave people a bad taste. But that was also right when all the bad stuff was starting to come out with China and the Wuhan.
Right.
Not Wuhan. That's the COVID-19.
Yeah,
the concentration camps, all that was coming out. And I think it was bad timing all around. And that it was just an okay movie.
Sure.
That wasn't better than the original in any way. In fact, aspects of it were changed in some people's opinion, for the worse. Again, this is all hearsay. I have not seen Mulan. I'm just going off of the reviewers that I trust. So.
Sure.
So yeah. Anyways, let's talk about a good movie that was released on the general subscription service, Soul.
Yeah, I was excited about this when they started advertising it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a Pixar movie. We know it's about death and jazz. I'm sold.
Right. Well,
what more do you need?
So that was something that I was not expecting. Like,
what?
Death, that makes sense. I thought they were going to go with blues or like Southern jazz, but they went with like Brooklyn, Harlem, like contemporary jazz. Like, they went full on contemporary jazz, and it's like, that's not everyone's cup of tea, but I
This is
think
so
they
funny to me. I
what
just don't. I mean, you and I both came up in marching band and everything in school,
mhm,
so we have a perhaps different crowd of people we surround ourselves music taste wise.
right.
But I just know so few people who dislike jazz that the fact that jazz is not popular blows my mind. I mean, I was in the jazz band in high school. I had no idea that that was making me less cool.
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't make you
Mm.
less cool. It just, for some reason, jazz is such an acquired taste. I think you have to have an appreciation of music in general. Like
Sure,
not just like music on the radio, like performance of music, like the theory of music to
sure.
get jazz. And that God, that sounds so pretentious.
I have a theory that it's not even that complicated. I have a theory that people don't know what jazz is.
Hmm.
Because my mom always said she didn't like jazz. And then I logged into my Pandora on their TV, and all she does is destroy my jazz stations because she loves them and doesn't know that you have to maintain Pandora.
Oh man.
I'm like, Mom, that's jazz. And she's like, What? Yeah, dude, you like jazz.
Now, don't get me wrong.
Sorry?
I'm not a big fan of acid jazz. Acid jazz
No,
is
not
just,
every form of jazz is good.
but like the jazz that they use in this film, contemporary jazz, like
Hmm.
it, it's so complex that I think people often mistake the fact that that it sounds like they're playing the wrong note, and so people
Hmm.
don't like it. But
Hmm.
if you listen to the whole stanza, if you listen to the piece as a whole,
Right.
I feel it tells a larger story than just normal music.
Sure, it's definitely more complex, which once again we're getting into arrogant territory with
Yeah.
the words we're choosing.
I really don't want to be that
This
guy. But
this is why people don't like jazz because it's impossible to talk about jazz without sounding like an asshole. We figured it out.
well, and I I really think they did a great job of exposing people to jazz in this because you can't
Mhm.
tell people why you like jazz because it makes you sound like a pretentious asshole. You have to show them why you like
Sure.
jazz. Like show them how it makes you feel. And this movie does a great job of showing how the main character, Joe, he,
Hmm.
how he how it makes him feel. The whole thing where he goes into that trance like state as he's playing.
Hmm.
It's such a great representation of just getting in the groove of music. This I've heard a lot of people talk about this not being the best Pixar movie. Like I definitely wouldn't make it my number one, but like
Sure.
there's one thing I think that Pixar gets above anything else, even above animation and graphical fidelity. They
Hmm.
get sound right.
Mm.
And when you mix their storytelling, their graphical fidelity, and their ability to capture sound, and you mix it with a story that revolves around music, oh
Yeah.
my God. Like this one and Coco just
Mm.
get me. Oh my God, I love these two movies because they have such a visceral feeling of music.
Yeah.
Ugh, I really like this movie. I don't know if you could tell or not, but I really liked Soul.
Just a little bit. I
Plus,
did too. I was not expecting the body swap part of the movie, though.
no, I was not expecting
I
that
guess they
either.
allude to the possibility of it in the trailer, but I didn't like. I was possibly expecting her to be in his body. I was not expecting the cat.
I
100%.
I really liked that too, though. Like, it
No, it
was
was
not
fun.
expected, but it was fun. Um, I want to talk about the cast.
Yes.
Uh, Number one, Jamie Foxx was amazing in this, in that
Hmm.
I didn't even realize it was Jamie Foxx until the credits rolled.
Hmm.
I don't know what it was about it, but the character felt so different from
Sure.
him that he was his own character until I realized that it was Jamie Foxx. But this movie has two of my favorite, well, technically three of my favorite people in it. First one's Graham
Mhm.
Norton as
Yep.
Moonwind. God, I
Hmm.
love that man. He is just a blessing on this earth. I love him. And the other two are Rachel House, the plays Terry. She's also the henchman in Thor Ragnarok, the kind of news. She's a New Zealand actor.
Okay.
And then
Sure. Yeah.
Richard Iota. I'm probably saying it wrong. He's a British comedian and he plays one of the Jerrys.
Hmm.
And those three people are some of my favorite. I mean, Graham Norton's not a comedian, but he has
Sure.
those three are three of my favorite comedic
Yeah.
actors. And they made this movie for me. Their bit parts were so great.
I'm
Ugh,
a fan of Tina Fey, so I
yeah.
was excited about that when they announced it. She she did a lot more acting in this than she does a lot of surface comedy stuff usually,
Hmm.
but that character got pretty down in the dirt
Yeah, no, definitely.
and she held her own through that.
Hmm.
I was impressed.
Yeah. No, this cast, like, it actually would have worried me if I would have seen the cast list before I watched the movie.
Oh,
I
really?
honestly went into this movie almost completely blind. I knew it was going to be about music, and I knew it was going to deal with death. That was
Sure.
it. I didn't know who was in it. I didn't know anything about it. But I mean, looking at the cast, it's one of those all-star animated casts that's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay, they spent all their money on the actors and not the screenwriters,
sure.
because it's Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey, Graham Norton, Rachel House, Alice Braga, Richard Iota, Felicia Rashad, Donald Rawlings, Questlove, Angela Bassett,
Right.
Margot Hall, Daveed Diggs.
Right.
Like, it's just, there's so many people in it that are just amazing.
Yeah,
And it's just like, man, if I would have seen that beforehand, I would have been worried.
sure.
But they just nail it.
I think they've reached the point where they can get those casts without spending the budget because people want to work with them.
Yeah. No,
I
that's a
mean, I'm
fair
sure that
point.
they pay well still, but I'm sure people aren't marching into Pixar demanding a premium
Right.
because they want to work with Pixar. All of their movies are great.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like how they get it's kind of like the Mandalorian. It's like
Right.
it's more of a, hey, can I be on the show, please? Like,
Right.
it's like, yeah.
Just be in the background, it's fine.
But yeah, I mean, it's great. I do want to bring up something about the editing though of Soul.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
I think this is where people are finding their issues. I haven't watched too many deep dive reviews of Soul yet. I've only watched one or two.
Mm-hmm.
But the editing is very non-Pixar
Hmm.
in
I can
Soul.
see.
There's a lot of jump cut jokes, which is not a
Right.
Pixar thing. Pixar is a much more fluid
Right.
editing style, and their comedy beats are much more in the moment, whether it's a visual sight gag or slapstick or, you know, a spoken joke, it's in the moment, it's set up, it's, there's a finish, there's, it's all there in the moment. Or it's
Right.
been something that was set up scenes before that the payoff is now happening and there's the joke kind of thing.
Right.
This one had many borderline Family Guy-esque jump cuts to jokes.
Sure.
And I could see people finding that hollow.
Sure.
But some of those jokes were the funniest things I have ever seen. Like, there's one in particular that I literally cackled when it happened. Like, full on ugly laugh, cackled, belly laughed. And I ended up talking with Jake afterwards. And him and I both just laughed because he had just watched it.
Yeah.
And it's when it cuts to 22 talking to Abraham Lincoln, and she's just like, so how does it feel being put, only on the penny, 1 cent? And he's like, oh, it's an absolute honor to be on the penny. It's like, so how do you feel about them putting Andrew Jackson on the 20? It's like, they won't, and it cuts. It's just, if you know history, that is the funniest joke. It's so funny. I mean, just the little things. Like, if you knew that, so funny.
A lot of her flashback to previous mentor bits had little nuggets of jokes in them.
Exactly.
Along the vein.
Yeah, and I could see people finding those shallow.
Sure.
But if you actually know the historical figures that they're talking about, like Aristotle and Abraham Lincoln, and the joke they're making, they're so much deeper. They're so much more, like, realized than you realize.
So, what you're saying is, it's complex.
Yes.
The editing style might be perhaps jazzier than their standard editing style.
Yes, very much so. In that it may not be to everyone's cup of tea, but it is much more complex and deeper than people give it credit for. Yes, I agree. God, that makes me sound so pretentious. Jesus. Jazz does bad things to me. That's why I don't listen to it often, because I just feel my, ego start to build up. It's like, by the end of the third song, it's just like, my music taste is better than other people. So it's like, okay, no, stop. Let's listen to the top 40. Okay. let's rein it back in. Rein it back in. No, Pixar, they just nail it.
Yeah.
What's the next one that Pixar's doing? Haven't they really
I don't know.
Because didn't they have one that they had a trailer out for it before Soul, and it still hasn't come out yet?
I don't think so. Because we got Onward and Soul this year.
Was Onward this year?
Yeah, man.
Oh my god.
It was the last movie. We saw it and reviewed it like the week before theaters got shut down.
Oh my god. That's right, huh?
Because it got released on Disney Plus like mega early because its theatrical run was cut off.
That's
It only
right.
got like a week and a half in most theaters.
I forgot about that. Holy cow.
2020 was really fucking long.
Well, that's the thing. Like, from March to August was 3 years.
Yeah.
And then from September to December, it was 4 weeks. It just went by like that. And it's this year has made no sense in the
last year
time frame. Last year. Oh my gosh, it's 2021. I am still trying to figure out what time it is. 2020 messed with me.
Yep. Yep.
Ugh. So, is there any final thoughts you wanted to talk about Soul?
I mean, go see the movie. There are so many more things. Just like they did a really good job animating the like little things in life sequences that they had.
Yeah.
Because it's a story about like not like the purpose and meaning of life, but like I guess appreciating life for what it is.
Yeah, well, and I think that message I think was really important, especially in, 2020.
Right.
The Your spark isn't your purpose,
Right.
Like your spark helps you get going. The thing that gets you excited helps you get going, but it's not going to be your purpose. You
Right.
have to find your purpose along the way. And that there's actually a quote that I love. I can never remember who says it. So hopefully when I say it, someone will know what it is and be able to quote them on it. But it's there are two most important moments in a person's life. One is when they're born, and the second is when they find out why.
Sure, I've heard
And
that.
I just
I also
love
have
that
no
quote.
idea. It's a good one. I said I also have no idea who it is.
Yeah. It's a great quote though, and that's kind of this movie is like, 22's trying to find her spark to be born essentially, and Joe is trying to find out why he was born. It's just very interesting. I love it. Leave it to Pixar to have such a deep concept in
Dark question.
Okay.
Joe dies at the end. He gives the life pass back. So is he just found dead in his apartment?
No, he got the second chance, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Because they
I saw it
distracted
twice.
Terry.
I was so concerned with that question while watching that part of the movie that it stuck in my brain. It was like, is Pixar just gonna leave a dude dead in this movie?
I mean, they did with...
That's right, no, they distracted Terry.
Yeah, they distracted Terry.
Good. Thank God.
I love that character, though. Terry, I love that character. I feel bad for that guy in the barber shop who gets, like, trapped in limbo for a split second because Terry's grabbed the wrong person. Like, that guy's scarred for life.
Daveed Diggs' character, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
good.
He's fucked up now.
Yeah.
Forever.
It's Paul.
That's a bad day.
Real bad day. But leave it to Pixar to have something that deep in such a complex movie that you really have to actually dig to find it, Well, not dig, because it's pretty blatant. But there's deeper meaning to it throughout. It was just, I really liked it.
Yeah, it was good. Me too.
So I think my final thought is, I mean, it's on streaming now. It's not free. You got to pay for the subscription, but I mean, it's not behind
Does
us.
Disney Plus not have a free trial?
It might. I actually don't know. It's been so long that I don't remember if it had a free trial or not. I'm sure it does. All subscription services have a free month somewhere.
Sure.
But anyways,
you don't want to pay. Find that trial.
It's worth it to watch. It's so good.
Yeah.
Just for the music, it's great. Do we want to talk about what movie we are watching next?
Yes. Our next movie is another one that was released on streaming on Christmas Day. It'll be Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah, which I'm actually pretty excited about to talk about because it's a movie in a very interesting space. And I'm not talking about the actual setting of the movie, but because the DC universe has been so uprooted, I'm curious to see how it all plays out. So we'll talk about that in our next episode.
Yeah.
And I think now's a good time to thank our patrons who make all this possible.
Jenny, Jake, Pam, and Graham.
You guys rock. Thank you so much. You make this all happen, all possible, and it's made our 2020 that much more bearable, and hopefully here's hoping 2021 will be better in every way.
Yay! Thank you!
And on that hopefully uplifting note, this has been another episode of Casual Cinephilia. Thank you for joining us.